Young mother dies at Edwardsport, ill a long time. Edwardsport, February 19th. Mrs. Lillie Hughes, the wife of Andrew Hughes, has lost her fight for life, death having come at 6 o'clock this morning to end her sufferings. Had she lived until Sunday, Mrs. Hughes would have celebrated her 32nd birthday. Shortly after Christmas time, Mrs. Hughes was taken ill with a cold which later developed into the flu. A week ago last Sunday, she was able to be up from her bed, but on Tuesday of the same week, she suffered a relapse and had been bedfast since. The flu settled in her jaw, and for a time it was feared she had lockjaw. Pneumonia developed last night, from which she was unable to rally, and death came quietly early this morning. Lillie Jones Hughes was born on February 22nd at Bloomfield. In the year of 1909, she was wed to Andrew Hughes, and to this union 2 children were born. Left to mourn with the father are 2 children, Beatrice, age 14, and Louis, age 12. Deceased is also survived by her mother, Mrs. Sarah Jones, with whom she and her husband had made their home, 5 brothers and 2 sisters. Surviving brothers and sisters are Elza, Albert, John, Herbert, and Hestel Jones, all of Edwardsport. Mrs. Lavinia Elliott of Lyons and Mrs. Charlotte Kirkley of Linton. Funeral services will be held Sunday morning at 10 o'clock at the Methodist Church here, and burial will be made at the Walnut Grove Cemetery in Bloomfield, Indiana. This is the place where we suspect that our grandmother was buried, but we have no head markers, so we're not sure. But we're assuming, since her parents are right over there, and her uncle, or her great-grandfather, is right there, so we figure this is probably where she was buried. Ready?
All right, well, we're in Walnut Grove, outside of Park, which is really outside of Bloomfield, Indiana. This is the location we know that is where our grandmother, Lillie Jane Hughes, formerly Lillie Jane Jones, was buried. We know that it was in 1925. We know that it was probably she died on the 19th of February in 1925. Family stories tell us that there was no headstone. And another family story tells us that there was a sunken-in spot. We're located next to her father and her grandfather in a Jones portion of the cemetery, and there probably are 2 bodies buried in this area where I'm sitting, and to the best of our sleuthing, we think this is probably the best bet on where Lillie is. Of course, we'll never really know that, but this is probably it.